Nothing like an Iowa storm. Hopefully everybody can hear it okay. I got those cool photos back, which will show everybody as well. Michael did a great job, a couple of ripper photos on all that. So hopefully that all works good, and I can show you what photos we got back from the drone that day. That was a good day, actually. That
Was, yeah.
considering how quickly it all got thrown together. Okay, just going to check that everybody is able to hear us and all that sort of stuff. You'll know soon because your phone will start going off. Matty Conders is one of the first people to jump on. Andrew McGuire. Hey, Wado. Hope the audio is okay. Talia Pelt, Dave Nichols. So if everybody can just press share on this so that we can get this out to as many people as possible. So Aussie's in the race shop, as you can see. He's got all the wings up there on the back, and oh, look at all them. So who you got there? You got Kratos up there.
Crackers at the top. Brody Kostecki.
Yeah. You got a Cricky
78.
Motorsport on there somewhere too, don't you?
Oh, he's right over the other side. But
He's on the
Glenn,
bottom section.
Glenn 20 and Real Deal Veal. He's up there.
Glen 20. You know you're a rocker
Glenn
when you
20.
got Glen 20s up there.
He's a
Um,
champion, isn't
it is 5 a.m. in the morning, Aussie,
he? Yep.
in Knoxville, Iowa. I'm underneath the grandstand at Knoxville. There's a massive electrical storm going on at the moment, so I'm just like fingers crossed that the service is all good. But please press share on this now, just so we can make sure we spread the word. So it's been an amazing couple of weeks. Now, Oz, it's not been an amazing couple of weeks for you. It's been an amazing at least year and a half, because I've been talking to you about this for a long time. When did this all start in your brain that you could possibly pull off building a speedway in Brisbane?
Yeah, when we heard Archfield was finishing up, we started looking around for blocks of land and to see what we could do because, I knew that nothing was going to happen. There was a few people looking around to do stuff and to get the right block of land is pretty hard. And I knew this block of land was here because, we've been around it with the logging and that sort of over the years and knew it was there. So it come up for sale. So we contacted the people that owned it and we secured it I'm going to say about 3 years ago we got it.
Okay. Yep.
And we've been working on it pretty much flat out since then.
So pretty well, this has been a multi-year plan. Like it might seem like it's like, oh, I've got an idea, but this idea has been in your brain, literally, like you said, since Archerfield was set to close.
Yeah, we've been working on it. Lee has built a really good sand motocross track there. So there's been numerous, top end motocross guys been using the track for the last, I'm going to say year and a half, and for practice and what have you. And that's been really a bit of a test for us to see if we get any noise complaints or whatever. And no one can hear it. No one knows they're there. I know young Noah Ferguson, he's there every week riding and, getting practice on sand tracks. And, it's been really good.
So there's a process that we need to talk about today, and I know everyone is incredibly excited about the future for all of this. So everybody's like, wow, we got to help. Well, what we need to establish today is what that help looks like, because
Yeah, for sure.
there's a process with anything. Now, to put this out there straight away, you own the land. You're not looking for government financial support. This is not contingent on you getting this $10 million grant or something, Aussie. That's actually not your plan here. It's the approval that you need right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We committed to buying the block, and we're going to have as well as running as a motorsport park, we're going to have our cattle running on it. And we secured the block. We've been talking to council, and let me tell you, the Cavilcha Council has been really good. We've spoken to those guys and had some really good meetings with them. We've been up front with everything we're going to do. So what we've actually done, rather than go through a council approval, we've gone to a state approval, and the state government has agreed to take it on to do the approval process.
Cool.
So for us, that's pretty substantial that the state want to pick it up and follow through with the approval.
Yeah, and you've actually done a bit of door knocking just recently. Now, let's probably go back a step here. Where is it, Ozzy? Let's clarify where this is.
Okay, so if you're at it, it's exactly. I think you and me done it the other day. It was, what was it, 49 k's from when I picked you up at the airport to the center of where you're standing in the center of the track was 49 kilometers.
Yep.
So if you head to Bribie Island Road, turn off at Bribie Island Road, it's 4.5 kilometers from the Bribie Island Road down the Beachmere Road on the left hand side.
So and also, let's not have people driving down that road and going onto the property and stuff like that right now, because that's what we don't.
Yeah, well, there's not much they can see. It's just a vacant paddock, and certainly that turkey the other day put out all the stuff early. I don't know, he's pumped his chest out thinking that he was something else, and all he really did was put us backwards because he misled everyone as to where it was. It wasn't on Blosh Road. It's not even close to there. There was you've been working on this as long as I have, Wade, and we put a lot of work into this. And for someone to go and mislead everyone, and we're going to have 30,000 people on the road and all this sort of, and that's just stuff that's physically not going to happen. You're not going to get 30,000 people to a speedway. We're not running Max Verstappen here. It's
Yep.
it's.
Yep.
And that was just totally misleading. And really, he just looked like a clown at the end of it. Like we had an opening. So going back to what you're saying, we walked around and there was 12 sensitive receptors, right? So there's 12 houses that are within 1 kilometre of the centre of the track. So we had a letter for anyone else that was outside the 1 kilometre. They got a letter drop in their mailbox, and that it had the whole story of what the track's going to be, where it's going to be placed on the track, there's an email address that they can call up and say, okay, and express their point of view. And we want to hear their point of view because we don't want to build a speedway that's going to have neighbours that are disgruntled, right? So, and we want to mitigate that and come up with the best way going forward we can. So we went round and we walked around these 12 hours, drove around each one, walked between them all, give them a letter, shook their hand. I met them, I'm Aussie Corbet, we're building this track. We own the land behind you, in front of you. I tell you, and I'm thinking, maybe I might need a mouth guard to go around to some of this stuff, And,
Yep.
but I tell you, every neighbour is that's amazing. That is so good. Yep. And there was one old lady just up the road from us, and she was an old lady. She's lovely. And we went in the gate. She goes, right, what are you chasing? And we walked in there, and she goes, oh, we're just here. We're going to build. We own the block over here. We're going to build a motor. We want to try and get an approval to build motors, but we're just chasing support. She goes, well, where do I sign? You just let us know whatever we can do to get kids in riding and kids into sport. She said, that's amazing. And
Wow.
and that was really good to get around those people and hear that what they thought about it.
Let's discuss Brisbane for a second. The concept of the word Brisbane, and it was me pushing to say the word Brisbane in the sentence, right?
Yep.
Because when you look at it, the Perth Motorplex is in Kwinana, which is at least 45 minutes drive south of Perth, and it's called Perth Motorplex Kwinana Beach. So people tend to get a little bit more. Is it Brisbane? Don't even think like that. It's about the same drive distance from the airport to Archerfield, to Colbard Street, as it is to your venue. It's just that obviously it's heading in the sunshine direction, right? So the reason why we're saying Speedway is back in Brisbane, because effectively it is Brisbane. And let's not even get on to, but it's not really Brisbane. Let's just be 1000% positive about where we're going with this. So as much as the planet seems to be really reactive to things, it is a Brisbane area. It's Caboolture, right? Correctly. And Beachmere, right, is the region.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
And that was a big thing. We made it because we wanted to go internationally and we want everyone in Australia to know what we're trying to do. Certainly in that motorsport, people to know what we're doing. And if we said, we're going to build a track at Beachmere, they're not going to know where it is. They don't know yet, but they're going to know where Beachmere is. And we want to put Beachmere on the map. We certainly want to put Caboolture on the map and people know where it is. So we've used Brisbane as a reference. I think from the centre of the track to Brisbane Airport, in line of sight's only like, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to measure it. I think it's like 12 miles. So it's not far.
Okay. So that in itself, there's a lot of tourism in the region. So if you're a family from Adelaide or from Melbourne or from Sydney or from wherever, you can effectively fly in your Qantas or your Jetstar or your Virgin, jump in the minivan, and
Mm.
basically for that weekend you can go to Australia Zoo, which is the next exit, right, on the
Yep.
freeway. Beachmere's got a fantastic. That whole Moreton Bay area is really good for the beach stuff, the tourism stuff. There's a couple of ripper pubs in the area, caravan
Yep.
parks, everything. You've got all that, and of
Yep.
course you can go across onto Bribie Island, right, as well.
Yeah. Oh, and like you've got your Sandstone Point taverns, just amazing place. Like if you were to come here racing, there's that many avenues. You can go back into the city in Brisbane and stay there. You can go to the Sunshine Coast. You can go to Caloundra while you got some spare time. Australia Zoo. What I mean. It opens up a lot of avenues for everyone, and certainly places to go in between races. So
So a lot of people obviously say, "Oh, can you make sure you get bikes? Oh, can you make sure you have speedway carts? Oh, can you make sure we've
yeah.
got this sort of stuff?" Now, the reality is there's no plan set in concrete for what you're building and how. You're
No.
looking at all those options, Aussie, right?
Yeah, so we've done just some concept drawings that we quickly made up, and I don't even know what the track is that we've got on our drawings, but it's just a track, so people can see what we want to do, and nothing's set in stone what we want to do. Certainly not the motocross track. We've reached out. Like I've had people like going to put skid pans in and drag racing, and once we get a motorsport approval and work in with our government, and let me say, I honestly think we've got the right government at the moment to be able to move forward. So that's a one positive that we've got in all of this. The government that we've got and the negotiations we've had at this point have just been amazing, and they are 100% in support of us to try and do something moving forward. So once we get an approval, we'd love to showcase, down the track, maybe drift cars and burnout pads and all this sort of stuff. This needs to be a place that everyone can call home for every type of motorsport.
I mean, the beautiful part is you're not trying to compete with Willowbank Raceway. You're not trying to compete with Queensland Raceway. This is not whilst it could be considered a motorsport precinct with the motocross and the speedway side of things,
Hmm.
um,
Yep.
QR already has all those facilities in place for circuit racing. And I know that was probably the place everyone thought you were going to go, right? Everyone thought, oh, this is Willowbank for sure. That's where you're going to be headed.
Well, there's definitely land there that we could get tomorrow to build a track at Willowbank, and I don't. There is motorsport approvals on that block, right? So here's the biggest thing I see is that you can go and build a track out there, drop some bulldozers out there tomorrow, get an approval, build a track. I think you're really going to struggle to get people to come there on a Friday, Saturday night, and get enough people in the crowd. Now, the inner workings of how the speedways work and how the motocross works is this costs money. There's no shying away from it. Costs money. So we need the crowds. So, and I think in the location we've got the Sunshine Coast, the Brisbane's, all that sort of stuff. You're going to get the crowds, and so we're not certainly as Corbets Group as a company, we're not doing this to make money out of. Everything we get out of this, we want to put back into riders. We want to put back into race car drivers, pay the right amount of prize money, pay the right amount of tow money. Like these young fellas getting around on motocross bikes,
Yeah.
they get nothing to turn up. You know what I mean? I want to change that whole cycle of how that works. And it might not be big dollars they're racing for, but they've got a goal. They get to race for something, and the money that we charge to get in, and let it be known we want to make it affordable for families. We don't want to be price gouging and make it to a point where families can't afford to go to Speedway, because that's not what Speedway is about. Every family should be able to afford to go to a Speedway on a weekend and take their kids and have a good time, buy a burger and a drink and have a good time. So that's what it's about.
I've been sort of referencing people over here and explaining it's a little bit like the Perth Motorplex concept, but instead of a drag strip, there's a motocross precinct. So a motocross track that's going to be kind of elite. And to that point, you've had some phenomenal interest. And there's a couple of guys in particular that live over here in the States that want to help endorse this. And you could have
Yeah.
called me up and said, hey, can you get on a plane and go to Tampa, Florida? Because the Lawrence brothers want to endorse this. That's huge, mate. Are you getting that kind of interest from Toby Price and Hunter and Jet Lawrence and people like that?
Yeah, these are the guys they've reached out to us, and like this is only like 25, 30 minutes from where the Lawrence boys grew up, and
Yeah.
there's a massive hole made in that whole motocross scene for young guys, right? How this all happened. You know, what I mean, it is. I honestly think that I grew up in the best times. You know, what I mean, in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
So when we grew up as kids, you know, what I mean, like everyone in town had a KX80 or 125 or 250, and
Yeah.
we all rode bikes. Or, you know, I mean, you could race cars. You know, we had Mother Mountain Speedway just up. You had Yandina Speedway down the road. Dad used to religiously take us to sprint cars and watch Yandina. And I think every kid around should have the opportunity to ride a bike or race a bike or race a car and have a safe place to do that. And I think those places that existed when we were younger, they just don't exist anymore. You know, like there was half a
Yeah.
dozen earth moving and farms around this town that we used to go to. If we weren't at our place, right, we were at their place. You know, or if they weren't at their place, they were at our place. And
Yeah. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we all just took turns at it. And I think the kids are missing out on that. You know, and I see it as some of my best friends I've ever made in my life. I haven't made them from school. You know, there's been guys. You know, I do have good mates from school, but I've made more mates in my life from racetracks than I ever have anywhere else. You know.
Yeah. There's a lot of discussion about two wheels. Darcy Ward was one of the very first
Yeah,
people
Darth. Yeah.
to reach out to me, and he's like, mate. And I said, I know, just hold on a sec, wait till we get some more, infrastructure in place. But the reality is, however that might work, yes, the idea is that you want to incorporate motorcycle speedway in some way, Oz, with this, right?
Yeah. So look, we're in discussions now with North Brisbane. Lee is more the motorcycle guy. He's dealing
Yep.
with them and certainly in talks with them. They've got to go somewhere. That track that they've got, it's, you know, I mean, I see comments on the Facebook side of thing about, oh, we need to save it. You're never going to save it. And it's a shame because that is the perfect location. It's been there a long time. But
Yeah.
the harsh reality is the government needs money and that land's worth big dollars. And some developer's going to buy it and turn it into industrial land. So, and that's okay. You know, it's not okay, but we're going to try and facilitate those guys. And
Yeah.
we want a spot from them. If you're going to come and race motocross, we want to have a flat track there and we want to make it in the right spot and the timing and have everything, 200%.
Look, I think it's just people's passion, right? And just they all want to see this, and it'd be great if this, and it would be cool if that. Like Justin Playstead and Kevin Tittman tuning in just as we talk about motorcycle speedway. The idea is, for the moment, the comment that you put onto a Facebook page, you got to be cognizant and aware of what the ripple effect can be with that. Because then someone says, "Oh, mate, why don't we have quads?" And then suddenly goes, "Oh, it's bullshit. We don't get quads anymore." And suddenly it just filters away from the whole plan here. And the plan is right now that the whole idea of what are you going to build in terms of a speedway track, and it's not a sprint car track, Oz, right? Let's also clarify that. It's sedans, it's wingless, it's right, it's V8 dirt modifieds, it's AMCA nationals, it's super sedans, it's late models. So we have sprint cars at times, but the concept is this is a speedway track.
Yeah, track. And like I've had numerous mates from during the day, and is it just going to be a sprint car track? It's not going to be a sprint car track. I come from sedans, and
yeah.
Sedans are a big part of my life, and certainly I've got a lot of mates in sedans, and I've got no problem with running sedans. And certainly, I've had messages from people, "Oh, you're going to run speedway and solos." Like to me, like a big part of my life is like solos. My dad, and my uncle had a solo team when I was a kid. They still got the bikes, and Dad's still got one of our original TQs sitting in the shed. And we've got all the original leathers, the guys, and one of the solo riders works for us still today. You know what I mean? And to us, if we can harness that and get a league of our own going with solos, it'd be pretty cool to have happen.
And there's a strong culture for sidecars and all that sort of stuff in Queensland as well. And the other thing too is that, I know that Ryan Harris is very keen to work with you, Aussie. Like he's excited about this. So anyone thinks, oh, is it going to run against Toowoomba? The reality is,
Ryan has had numerous phone calls. Oh, this is going to be bad for you. And Ryan is like, no, this is so good, and we want to harness that, we have a series between us and, certainly Bob at Gladstone and pick up Maryborough and get back into those old day racing where, we have run a series, get some of them guys from down south to come up and it'd be so good,
Look, absolutely. Toowoomba's had to do the heavy lifting since Archfield closed. Like the focus went immediately onto Toowoomba when Archfield closed. So there was really no
Yeah.
way of them not having to pull on the USC stuff. That Ryan's done and the team have done a phenomenal job to keep sprint car racing not just alive but thriving in Queensland. So, and with Speed Week Oz and this concept, we've now announced the Sprint Car Power Tour, where we're going to be leaving Speed Week and heading straight north. Down the road, this concept is a place that I want to go to with you as well. So we want to see you as part of all this. Timeline wise, right now, the approval concept is the most important bit. But when you got approval for this, how long is the time window do you feel it would take to build it?
Oh, look, I think we could build in 12 months. It's not really a big ask for us, Earthmoon wise. We pull some D10s and D11s out of central Queensland and bring them back here, and certainly some scrapers. And we've got the know-how to do that. And certainly my earth moving boys, they'd be all over that and harness that tomorrow and make it work. And we're lucky enough, right where that track is, we've got some of the best clay you've ever seen. So it really works well for that track.
You were telling me you've got some, amongst your, the Corbets Group infrastructure, you've got a machine that basically could build a concrete wall in a really quick amount of time. Yeah, once you get the design for it.
Yeah, we just put a form machine in and set it in the GPS and make a mold of what the wall needs to look like, and we just form it. Like that whole wall would take no more than probably, I'm going to say 30, 36 hours, continuous pour, and
wow,
away you go. So, so in my head, so you need to let it be known, like around the Speedway, like Lee, and let me say, like Lee's been pretty instrumental in all this, and he's the guy that's done, people say, oh, Ozzy, you've done an amazing job, and it hasn't been me, like Lee and certainly a lot of guys like our town planners, directors, they've been amazing in the work that they've done and what they're doing going forward. Those guys put in so much work to make this work and to try and mitigate the noise. So if you think for 1 minute, like our noise issues, we've mitigated it. We've spent a lot of money to make sure that the noise doesn't go over the decibel ratings at the certain distance. There's dust pollutants. If you name it, like we've had traffic studies done for the amount of people we want to have there on a night going in, how that impacts the local people. So if you've got a question, we've got an answer for it. And before we went to the government, we wanted to make sure that we had every box ticked, so everyone knows from the get-go that we're 100%.
And you've also got a really, really established tree line. There's a lot of forestry on the property as well, and basically that's going to offer us a sound buffer as well. So you've kind of got all that in place as well.
Oh, look, we've done a lot of work there, and there's guys on there saying, "Oh, we've done an illegal clearing." It's an ex-pine forest that had a heap of pine regrowth that we're allowed to clear. We're allowed to burn it. We've done everything to the letter of the law that we've done on the side. Yes, the block floods. It does have a flood issue. Where the track is does go under flood, but it's not going to go under flood once we, dig the water, the lake out and build it up. But we've mitigated the flood risks. So and that was something that we had a few of the neighbours saying, "Oh, if you're going to build this up, how's that going to impact up with flood?" And we've done a flood study, so we know exactly what we're going to do, how it mitigates the flood. We're not going to impact any neighbours, and we don't want to have any neighbours that are disgruntled. We don't want to have that. So and I think going forward, we're going to call a meeting in a hall there, and you're going to be involved, and let's try and get the haters. And there's going to be haters going forward, and to me, I hope, and there's going to be more lovers than haters, and that's what's going to make the project go forward.
Yeah, for sure. The whole concept of the link that's on the page, Oz, there's basically a link there, a portal that will go through that allow people to register their names so we can gather information to be presenting to the council as well. We want to show the weight of the industry that will support this. So I'd urge people to go to the page, which you might be watching it on there now. If you haven't already, go to Moreton Motorsport Park. Please like the page and start sharing the posts and stuff. We need a groundswell, and a significant groundswell, of this industry just saying, hey, this is who we are, this is what we can do, and this is what we want to be part of. Writing to councils and things, don't. Like I know everyone's
Oh,
excited, but just
yeah,
we've got that bit.
exactly right. And I hear, we've got people want to help, and that's so awesome. I think I checked the office before I left. We'd had 396,000 people have viewed the page. The videos reached over 250,000 people. So on your support, we've had, it's not even, I'm going to say it's like 12 or 14 hours or something. It's been up, might be a bit longer. I think there's 3,000 people registered on it now.
Great.
How cool would it be to get 30,000 people, And we don't need 30,000 people, but how good would it be to show the government there's 30,000 people in
Yep.
Queensland and Australia that want to see a track there and show your support towards what we're trying to do
Yeah.
and just click on it.
Yeah. Look.
And we've had some guys doing their own Facebook thing and wanting to go to the track and I mean, what are we doing? Well, we're doing nothing. Like there's nothing there to see. That turkey that put up, where it wasn't even the right location where he put up. And like I said, he looked like a clown at the end of it. And get behind it and contact the council. We don't want you to contact the council. Let me tell you that, as I said before, the council's been amazing to deal with, but it's at a state government level. All we need from you guys, and it's great to have your support, and
Yep. Yep.
and we're going to do everything we can to make this happen. But contact the council; they're not going to know what you're talking about. Yeah, they're going to say, yeah, that's a cool story, but certainly just like and support it, get behind it. We've got some really good people in the background that are working with government to make this happen, and certainly in the last, I'm going to say 24 hours, we've had some amazing people come out. We've had engineers, landscape
Yep.
architects, plumbing engineers, all this that have just sent us emails and rang the office today and said, oh, whatever we can do will help. We don't want money for it. We'll help you. I'm retired. I'm an ex-CEO. I'm good with governments. I'm good with governance and all
Yeah.
this sort of stuff. And we're going to harness those people. And we've got to just get to this point, and we're going to bring a few of them on sooner, and we're going to have some meetings pretty soon. And we need those people. I'm certainly not, and there's a few people in our show, we're not those people.
Yep.
We've done an amazing job to get to where we're going, but probably some of that finer architecture and all that sort of stuff. And when we build this track, or anyone's seen or knows me and knows my stuff, we're not doing some half-assed speedway. Like, this is going to be
Yep.
a world-class facility. When you drive in the gate, it's going to be a wow factor, and it's somewhere where people want to go on a weekly basis.
So I caught up with this bloke.
Speedway in Brisbane is back. You were
Haha.
over the years. You would have felt the absence of it when it was closed.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big hole in our sport. Archfield was a staple of what we did in Australia, and to then not have anything replaced that was pretty brutal. So we'd always pack the grandstands there. There was always a lot of good vibes from the fans. I think they've kind of been a little bit deprived of it over the last few years. So, to talk of a new track is something pretty exciting. And I think in our sport alone at home, is on the way up. And to then have, a facility that they're talking about, to be able to compete against like Earth, and then have other spawns of motorsport within that complex is something that I think Australia needs and our sport needs, and everyone that's involved with it knows how to do things properly.
Yeah.
You look at the way business is and their operation in the racing world. So I'm excited. I love going up to Brisbane, and something that, like I said, we need. And we had a big hole in our industry once Archfield show.
What would you build? Well, we already built Peevely at Tom. The Snow did a great job of that. What would you think would be cool for that location?
It's hard, mate. I think I would love to see a half mile in Australia, but I think it's too expensive for car owners and teams to be able to run that weekly. So my thought is a good size 3/8, like an Attica or with a fence, obviously.
Yep.
Something around there with a bit of banking. I think
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for any kind of Australian that wants to aspire to race over in America, you need to you need to be able to race on banking, and it's a lot different to how we sort of grew up racing at home. So some banking would be nice. Honestly, man, I think all tracks have their parts, but yeah, something around that side.
Parramatta used to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Something like that with a fence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love Parramatta. I think Parramatta was so cool that didn't have a fence, but yeah, I feel like said that they're gonna talk to the right people. He's like I said, he's a very smart businessman and a smooth operator in everything he does. So I've got full faith that they're going to get the right style of track, and yeah, we'll be first ones over there to support it.
Speedway in Brisbane's back, baby.
It's cool when you get endorsements from guys like that. Kerry Madsen has been really chatty about this whole thing and sending lots of messages about what he thinks the side. He said if Archerfield and Avalon had an illegitimate child one night, and then he quickly laughed and said, "I'm just kidding." But the idea of somewhere like Parramatta is a cool idea. I know that the fans wanted to see that originally happen when the Sydney Motorsport side of things was built, when Sydney Speedway was built. So everyone's got an idea. Right, everyone's got an idea of what they think should happen and all that sort of stuff. The reality is a half mile's not practical, Oz, for teams.
No,
it's just not. So,
and like it's cool to go to Perth. Whatever we go, their Jai's doing a schedule over there this year, and that place is amazing. You know what I mean? But I don't think the run of the mill guys that are here every day of the week can afford to run those tracks.
Yeah. So surface-wise, shape-wise, all that stuff, that's all currently, being discussed. The idea right now is to just contain your enthusiasm where you can into a really positive thing. You might think it's cool to go, and what about this? Or they could do this and stuff like that. That's not the problem right now. The problem is filling out that form, getting a lot of sharing going with all that sort of stuff, and getting a united front going forward. More information's coming out very soon on where you're up to. I think everyone's going to keep you updated, Aussie, on what's going on with this stuff, so they don't have to guess, right? Guessing is sometimes what undermines the plan.
No, I think just watch the Facebook page, and first I want to thank you, Way, for the amount of time you put into this, and people behind the scenes wouldn't see, all these videos and that. People need to know that that's 100% you. We're really good truck drivers and bulldozer operators, but the social media sort of thing's something that we don't really do well, So I want to, applaud you. You've done an amazing job, and certainly, like I say, all the consultants and guys that are working on this have done an amazing job. Now, what we need is everyone to get behind it and support it. The more people we can get to show the government, there's 30, 50,000, whatever the number is. It is what it is. Here's the people we need it. So if we get, and you're going to get haters, if we get 1,000 haters and we've got 50,000 people that want it, here's a pretty good story to the government, And we don't want to have 1,000 haters. We want to mitigate that and go and see them and certainly sit down with them and say, okay, well, how can we make this better for you? What can we do? Is it a season pass? Rather than your hater, come to the Speedway. We'll give you a free pass. Come and watch these kids get around and race their bikes, race their cars, go-karts, sidecars, solos, whatever. And get your head around it. It is what it is. We want to get kids racing and get them off the streets. And I was at Crestmead today to pick some parts up and drive around the industrial estate there. Every street in Crestmead, all the young fellas have been out there in their hotted up cars and what have you, burnouts and stuff everywhere. Yep. And I was just thinking to myself, they're only doing it because they've got nowhere to go. There's no other way. If you had a place that was approved to do this, you get them in a drift track and burnouts, whatever. They're not going to do that stuff. They're not going to risk getting their car squashed or confiscated or whatever. You pay 20, 30, 50 bucks, whatever it is, come do, burn the frigging tyres off, do whatever you want. And that's what we need, I think we just need to harness it, get everyone involved, support it, like it, and move forward from there. And like I said, we're lucky enough. We've got a really good government in power now, and they're really keen to talk to us moving forward to support it.
Different state, but same vibe. We all know that Sydney has had its fair share of struggles. There is no doubt about it. It'd be pointless to say that it's been a smooth transition from Parramatta to Sydney. This time tomorrow night, I'm talking to Mitch Biner, who is the new general manager
of
Sydney Speedway. And the reality is that there's some big changes coming there as well. It would be really easy, and I've done it too, Oz. I've gone, mate, it's just a disaster. My God, it just seems like every other time we turn around, it's like, what is Sydney doing? All those sort of things. The reality is we have to get in the boat and row. Like we all have to row in the same direction. You got Tolmo, which is rocking. You certainly
Yeah.
got Toowoomba, which has been on fire. If we can just now work with Sydney to get them on stream with us and start working up and down that east coast and starting to really get some things rocking. So tomorrow night, I've got Mitch to talk about some of the things they've got on. They've got Cam Ware on board doing the racetrack, which is really
Great.
big.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Yeah.
Cam did a ripper job with Parramatta over the years.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
I've been guilty of being critical of the place as well, and I need to turn my brain around and start going. We cannot keep debilitating this sport. We have to support it. I know at times it feels like we're pushing back against people or people in administration and pushing back on what we want. The reality is we just have to get forward and go. This could be the most exciting 18 months in Australian Speedway, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think Sydney going forward, certainly amazing track and the facilities. You know, no one's ever going to build that again. That is just next level. And I think right people, there's a new lot of people coming through there. Certainly, if they do everything they say they're going to do, you know, we'll be there racing and we'll support it. And hopefully they can get it sorted and go forward.
Mate, real quick, your boy's doing a phenomenal job. Jai did a ripping job over here. I know everyone was really impressed, whether it was Husitz or Knoxville, anywhere he went. Him and the Deuce Five and Brandon did a fantastic job, mate.
He did, yeah. Yeah, look, so proud of him. He's come back with like a new step. You know what I mean? He's hit the gym really hard, and I was up there on the kick bag with him before. Actually, he's pretty keen on training. He's pretty keen to win. So that whole deal come around. You know, I want to thank Brandon and Holly for the opportunity they give Joy to go over and race the car. You know, we supply a little bit of stuff, not much. That's 100%. Brandon and I can deal, and Holly. You know, those guys are amazing to give us the opportunity for Joy to be able to race it. You know, big thanks to Shannon. He took the time off work to go, which I went last time. He was over there with Bernie. You know, they had an amazing time. And, you know, we're going to go back next year bigger and stronger, longer time. I think he's going to go for a bit longer next time. Him and Brandon are working out the inner work. He's going to schedule as to what they're going to do. You know, they've certainly got a spring in their step. They've done an amazing job, you know, so it was really good time for them.
Spewing, mate, Knoxville Nationals is on. Like the 360 National starts this Thursday, and then the Cappy on Sunday, and then the Knoxville. What was it go there? He could have driven the Deuce 5.
Yeah, he definitely could have went over there racing, but you know, he had a visa, and everyone's got to understand, like, Joy's not just a race car driver. So if there's bulldozers to work on or trucks to work on, you know, we've got to work first before we race. And he's certainly doing his apprenticeship. So I push him probably harder than most to make sure that stuff happens. And our work comes first. So our work funds the race car team. And, you know, there's a lot of racing coming up. So we've got to fit a lot of work in before we go racing. And
yeah,
certainly both my boys have got a work ethic like me. They work. They're not there to muck around. They're you know, they have all their boys have fun at work. They have a beer at the end of the day, but we're there to work. Next year, probably it was a pretty quick deal when Brandon rang and said, "Well, how about you come over here and do a bit of racing?" And so we sort of decided we sent one of Kenny's engines over there, and you know, some of the fastest times we set was on a KRE engine over there. Brandon had one of his Kisslers, and pretty good highlight for us to send a Gold Coast engine over there and run with the best of them in the world. And, you know, next year we'll set a bit bigger calendar, certainly tie in the Nationals, do a fair bit more racing before he gets to the Nationals, and, you know, hopefully for good as run as we did this year.
Mate, this guy's been massively supportive.
Mad dog, yep.
Motorsport Park. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good to get your head around. It looks like it's going to be absolutely awesome, and going to be up there in the Sunshine Coast. I'm just ready for it to be now, so we can go right there this year. Pretty excited.
So it's 45 minutes from Brisbane Airport. Yeah. It's right near the beach, right near Australia Zoo. So 40 minutes in the car. It's about as close as Archerfield was to the airport.
It looks fantastic, and obviously the location's going to be fantastic to go race and enjoy the area. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm
What kind of track should they build, Kerry?
You know what? Something, that suits the topography of the land, but obviously something around, I don't know, 460 meters with a bit of variable bank and, obviously I feel like the infield built up a little bit. There's a lot of great examples out there at Kwinana. So just something that makes sense. Obviously not too little, not too big, something just right.
There was a place in Wentworth Street, Granville, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a cool track. Was one of my favorites, but something similar to that, or I don't know. That was just a special track, but I know they're going to have a lot of great people put some input into this, so I feel reasonably confident that it's going to be good.
Brisbane back in Speedway, mate. How good?
That will be good. Yeah, East Coast, it's going to be fantastic.
He's a weapon. I love the madman. Now we should point out that Ian got injured on the weekend too, and not great. So he's got some neck injuries. I just want to send a shout out to Ian. I'm hoping he's going to be watching this because he's been following the progress of this place with great interest. I spent quite a bit of time with him last Sunday out at his house, out that way and out of Norwalk. And I know he was really excited about all this. So he's going to be facing a period of several weeks now in recovery. And I just want to send a shout out to Ian because it was a pretty big get off. And as you know, at Knoxville, mate, there's no small crashes.
No, that's right. And, those guys are giving their life to the sport, and to have those guys on board's, unbelievable for us. And, I've had numerous phone calls the last couple of days, what track are you going to build? And to me, I can't push the button on what track we're going to build. And say we get an approval, I think the jury's out, you know what I mean? I don't know whether we have a vote as to what track we build. You know what I mean? To me, I don't know. What's your favourite track in Australia? So as today, what would your favourite track in Australia? Probably I'll put you on the spot. What would your favourite track be?
I love Borderline, to be honest. I love Mount Gambier.
Yeah, me too. I love, you go there, they're the nicest people. They can't do enough for you. That track to me it's really good. And don't get me wrong, every other track is just as good. But for me, there's just something about going to Mount Gambier. I remember I raced there numerous times over the years. Went to Kev Bolt Logging. We knew him from, they were a logging company down there. We knew him, the family knew him, and went and stayed with them. They were just amazing. And Glen 20's there, the Scots are there, and I come to our place, it's just the whole place, the vibe's good. You go to Warrnambool, you end up with Veely's, or you go to Jack Lee's, and that whole sprint car community is so good. And for us to be involved with it is a really big part of our life.
The Michael Hewitt just made it. He one of the comments I just got then is indicative of what happens. So I just said Borderline because I love the facility, right? I love the green spectator banks. I love the gum trees. I love that culture that's built around it. And Michael said Borderline doesn't work for slower classes. This is what happens. I completely understand why people go, well, I don't really like this because I like this. And Tolma really rocks because it's nice and wide and it's got great banking. And Warrnambool's awesome because it's got this. And Murray Bridge is great because it's down in the hole. And Parramatta, I still think the raceability of Parramatta, there was nothing as good as Parramatta. You got to have.
I raced there 2 or 3 times and it was unreal. But like I said, we need to put it out there and get some. I don't know, do a vote system or something. We haven't got that far. Like I say, get an approval. Let's all have a yarn about it and see what we can come up with and see if we can move forward from there. I think there's a good fit for everyone if everyone gets together, and we need that positivity for everyone to make this project go forward.
And look, my point with referencing what Michael said was purely that everybody's got an opinion and everyone has a reason why they think this could work or this couldn't. We've got to listen to people like Kerry, like Ian, like J Mac, like those kind of people that race internationally. But of course, we've got to mention and listen very carefully to what's going on in Australia because they are 2 different ecosystems. Mate, I'm looking forward to seeing what we do in the next couple of weeks with your approval process. Please get on the page if you haven't already done so. It's not this information gathering thing that we're going to sell your information to the Russians. It is purely so we can start to build a groundswell of support that the government and the council can see this is an industry that's fair dinkum.
Yeah, if we can go to them with, I don't know, thousands of likes, we're up to 3,000 already. Say we get 30,000. I think we can reach that. You know what I mean? And go to the government and say, well, here we've got 30,000 people that says, we need this track, we want this track. I I think we've got some pretty good leverage to be able to speak to those guys and certainly use it in moving forward.
Mate, you've done a great job so far. You and Lee and Cherie and everybody within your group. And big thanks to Dan D, who's been knocking out some wicked videos. I love the video of Lee's kids on the motocross. Speedway and Motocross is back in Brisbane, baby. It's back. I just love
they're units, those two.
They're motocross riders, mate. And the cool thing is,
Yeah.
in about 2.5 weeks' time, I'm going to go down and sit down with the Lawrence brothers, who are the number 1 and 2 riders on the planet right now in motocross, who are saying, we want to support this. Toby Price has been in touch with you. He's keen to support it wherever you can. So just keep an eye on what we're doing with the page. Share everything you possibly can for us. Be positive. Tomorrow night at this time, I'm catching up with Mitch Biner from Sydney as well. Let's just start loving this sport again, Oz. Good on you, mate. You're doing a hell of a job.
And as I said, like every dream needs a team, and everyone that supports this track's part of the team. So let's get the team together and move forward and see if we can get an approval and go from there.
Enjoy that cold weather, mate. She's what is it now?
It's going to be 1 degree here. 1 degree here in the morning when I get out of bed at 4:30.
It's 5:45 in the morning. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning for you this morning, but it was about 30 degrees already. She's pretty warm. We're about to get a storm here at Knoxville. Everyone over here is pumped about it, mate, and I know everyone back home is as well. We'll talk again shortly. All right, click on that link, folks. Go to the page. You'll see it. It's right there. We just want to start getting some information forward so we can push it. Good to see you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks very much, everyone, for your support. Let's move forward from here and make it great.
Absolutely. Oh, make Speedway great again. Look at you. Go the Don.